Hi, everybody. Welcome back to TableTakes. We're going to be bringing you a lot of news today. We are jam-packed with headlines. But before we get into that, we always like to check in with all of our lovely hosts. And we have a very special guest with us today. We are excited to reintroduce to all of you out there, Jeffrey Dohm-Sanchez joining us today. Thank you for joining us. We are so excited to have you back.
How you doing, Javion and team?
I'm doing good. Hey.
Yeah.
Doing all right.
So I just got back in from Gamma Expo 2023. Wonderful show. And WizKids gave me a couple of things to show off on your show. So should I get right to it or?
Yeah.
Yes.
All righty, here we go.
Show us the loot.
Show us.
So right here, one of my all-time favorite comic books. I mean, this is from like way back in the day when I was a little baby kid and all that. And Batman number 497, where, as you can see, Batman is being broken by Bane. All right.
Oh, no.
Legendary story. What did WizKids do?
A
Yes!
miniature. Like, is that two miniatures in one, or is it just one miniature?
That is Batman being broken by Bane.
Oh, it's got the little cracked.
Yeah, it even says crack, just in case.
It has the words. So good.
It's like boom, boom, boom.
This is like this is like the episode of Black Mirror where that guy was just like in the electric chair permanently. This is what you're doing. You have like Batman's back being broken for eternity.
So this guy here is coming out in August. It's part of their new Iconics set. Iconics line, sorry. They've also done a bunch of memes as part of this Iconics line. So this is one of my personal favorites. Available in September.
Yes.
What did the
Right.
bad finger say to the face?
Bat slap.
And two more. We've all seen this one, but you've probably seen the other side of the meme where he's actually looking at the picture and they put whatever in the picture, right?
Poor Logan.
Yeah, poor Logan. And then, of course,
So
the good old-fashioned Thanos snap.
Yeah.
Goodbye, world.
Man, you are so lucky. This is awesome.
Well, I mean, you guys are lucky. You get to see this basically first before anybody else did. Live and in person.
I love that they're
So-
making these. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, they started with there was a Spider-Man that was a double identity Spider-Man, where the spiders are pointing
Oh
at
yeah,
each
pointing
other.
at each other.
Yeah, so that was like the very first one I think that's coming out. I don't think it's actually come out. I think that one's like June. So
Yeah.
all this stuff is releasing over the summer. You can thank WizKids for it. Great line of games or / miniatures / things to put on your desk or shelf.
I'm gonna
Shelfies.
have a shelf filled with memes. I've already got a bunch of hero clicks already by my TV, so this is perfect for that.
Galactus is watching everything I do in the background.
Yes.
So
Well,
Alrighty.
Noir, speaking of stuff that you got on your shelves, you had any new additions that you wanted to let us know about?
No new additions, but as we all know, yesterday was May the 4th. Today is Revenge of the 5th. And my sibling was so kind enough to bring back a bunch of my nerd stuff from the old house. So I've got
Ooh.
all of my lightsabers now. This is
Yes.
the very first one I got. This is Vader's. These are the first ones that I had made from Ultra Saber.
Oh.
Yeah, as you can tell, I was very, very edgy as a kid.
Very
this, thing,
stiff.
this thing is ridiculous. And of course, the ones that I always troll with on the show, my newest ones. So I've just been very excited for all things Star Wars this week. So
Of course, I would expect nothing
Oh,
less.
goodness.
Oh, that's so cool.
So nice.
It's
You
perfect.
don't have a black saber? You need to add a black saber to your
Ooh,
list.
yes.
Dark Saber.
Oh, dark sabers, yeah, dark saber.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything from the newest season of Mandalorian.
Right, I was gonna say that. Right, there's
Yeah.
no need for a dark saber anymore.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
What, Evans? What?
I'm just gonna say me not having a dark saber is canon.
Oh!
Okay, I haven't finished it yet. I have like a few more episodes to go. Thanks, folks. All right, Bonsai. All right,
You ruined
Bonsai.
it.
Anything you want to spoil for me? What have you been up to this week?
Oh, for me, I got rid of my normie hair, and now I'm back to being anime, and I'm happy with it. I can't just do normal hair color anymore. So I wanted to get back into my orange swing. Also, just got a lot of things organized. Getting my shelves for my board games organized as well. Hopefully gonna get some more to for adding to that. So I'm very excited. Got to get all the shelves and stuff ready for all my various collections. And also, gosh darn, I thought I could walk away from Lego Brickheads, but no, they're bringing me back in.
Yes,
Bringing me back in.
I remember from being at your house that I thought your collection was very impressive of board games and stuff like that, but your toy collection was even more impressive. I mean, I'm sure people can already see some of the stuff in the background, but they have no idea.
I have this was of course income before I had child, and now I have child, so I mean the board games can survive a child, I think. The Lego figurines, at least I kept all the booklets, so if I need to sort through them and re-put them back together, it'll be done.
Well, I commend you on safeguarding your house for your child. That's very noble of you.
What about you, Javion? What have you been up to? You got back home. I see your background is back to what we're used to.
I'm back home, and I do have a couple of nice things to show you, but I have some devastating news.
Oh no!
I found out that I have been playing my favorite board game wrong this whole time. So, folks, if you've ever played a game called Acropolis, this is my favorite board
Oh
game.
man.
And it recently came out as playable on Board Game Arena. And while playing it on Board Game Arena, I realized that I was playing it wrong. So you know how maybe you've played Century Spice Road, and in that game, as you pay for things, you drop little cubes along the way to get the other stuff, and then people pick up the cards and they get extra cubes. I thought that was the same way you play Acropolis, but I was wrong. I was dead wrong, and I've been teaching it wrong to so many people.
I'm one of those people.
I'm so sorry, Bonsai.
Straight to nerd jail with you.
But you gotta admit, it is a pretty fun mechanic. Like you enjoyed doing
I
that
did
and getting all the free
yeah.
stones and stuff like that. So, well, yeah, I am a silly man who did a silly thing, and I apologize to all the people who I led astray with my.
This is how game designers get started. If they decide one mechanic just fits in there better than the other ones, and they just go with it. So yeah, no, it's a plus. It's a good thing.
Thank you, Jeffrey. All right, well, folks, let's jump into these headlines. We have so much to cover today. We have some wild news to share with you, and I'm very excited to get us started here with the new 1D&D play test. That's right. If you were curious about whether WotC was going to stick to that title, 1D&D, well, it's looking like they're in it for the long haul. It's called 1D&D because they're trying to collect all of D&D into one compendium so that people can play it. So it's not a new edition or anything. At least that's not how they're marketing it. They're trying to keep people from thinking that you're going to have to throw away all your books. Although, with this playtest information that came out, you might end up throwing away a lot of your old books and getting all the new stuff because, man, the amount of changes is wild. Not only do 5 of the core classes for D&D get major changes in this playtest, but also a lot of weapons and spells are changed as well. New spells as well as changes to which spells are available and how they work. So let's jump into this. Lots to cover here. We're going to start with my favorite D&D class, the Barbarians. How did they change? Well, it looks like their rage, their featured ability is getting some changes. Instead of you only getting to use it for 1 minute at a time, you can use it for up to 10 minutes in this playtest, as well as being able to extend the amount of time that you can use your rage isn't dependent on whether or not you get hit or any of the outside factors. Now you can extend it with a bonus action, or you can force one of your opponents to make a saving throw. And through that, you might get to keep raging over time instead of having to worry about like, oh, am I raging this round? Am I raging this round? You can just use your bonus action, or you can force somebody else to make a saving throw, which is a little, I don't know how that's going to work out. Maybe bumping up that saving throw threshold really high is going to be really important. Also, if you're a fan of the barbarian subclass that gives you frenzy, which typically would let you do a bonus action as an attack, um, now it just gives you extra damage every time you go reckless, which is that extra advantage to hit. As long as your opponents get advantage to hit you, that's what reckless attack is. Now, when you use it with frenzy, you get extra damage instead of an extra bonus attack. I think that evens out some of the damage a little bit more. So, like, if you hit that with that one, you're doing more damage. It's kind of like doing a bonus action attack, but it's not really because you're not doing as much damage and you can't really crit. So it's a little different. But I mean, I guess I am curious to see what they do with barbarians in the future. This is very interesting, I suppose. Let's move on to the fighters. So, if you're a fan of using fighters in D&D, you might be aware of the ability Second Wind, which gives you an extra action during your turn. You also might be aware that you can't really use it more than once per long rest without having a short rest in between. Well, guess what? If you got multiple uses of Second Wind available to, you can just start popping them off over and over again and then take a long rest and get them all back. You know, the short rest isn't even involved anymore, which is going to be insane if you ask me, because that is a core part of how fighters work, getting lots of actions. Now you're just giving them even more access to Second Wind. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm thinking of action surge, aren't I? I'm thinking of action surge.
Action surge actually got nerfed a little bit in my opinion, but
yes, absolutely. Thank you for thank you for correcting me, Noir.
no worries.
Second Wind is just getting some extra hit points when you roll a D10, so you get a little bit more survivability. That's a little bit less frenetic and wild as than I was thinking. So with both the fighter and the barbarian, a lot of the subclasses got changed, but a lot of the features got moved to other levels to make way for a lot of other features that got moved in. Specifically, what I'm thinking of is weapon mastery. Now, if you've been online, you might have heard of how weapon mastery is a little bit different than what you might have been expecting it to be. Think of it like this. Weapon mastery is access to new abilities with certain weapons. All weapons are now going to have a special ability, a mastery ability. And there are ways to change this, like homebrew it around. But basically, if you have the weapon mastery feat, you get access to these new abilities that each weapon has. And these new abilities are wild, okay? The flex ability allows you to deal damage with the versatile damage of a weapon as well as the regular one, while only using one hand rather than having to use two hands. So you can have like a massive battle axe in one hand and do the same damage as if you had it with two hands with that versatile property. That's crazy already. The push ability allows you to push a creature 10 feet every single time you hit them. That's every creature you hit every single time. Think about that. That's crazy.
I actually not saying where, but I have a character that I've already started building using this feat.
Oh, really?
And it's pretty cool. And the weapon, you can also do some cheats with it. It doesn't actually have to be a weapon to use. You can actually for example, I have spell books that I'm using as weapons. That's gonna be how this character is. I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but playing a game where I am basically using these barbarian extra feats, and it's pretty cool. The push, especially the pushback, if you're fighting somebody, that like putting them out of range by 10 feet is such a good little like niche little thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are a lot of crazy combos that are going to come out with all the different weapon mastery abilities that they are introducing. Like being able to slow a creature, that's pretty cool. But being able to sap a creature, giving them disadvantage anytime you hit a creature, that used to be a spell you had to cast. Now, as long as you hit, they got disadvantage. every creature you hit. So I'm thinking fighters and martial classes are going to get a huge bump in usability with weapon mastery. It's going to be pretty wild. All right, so some of the other classes that got changes are sorcerers. Sorcerers got a pretty big change and a pretty much needed one. Fans were really, really looking forward to changing the cap of the number of spells that sorcerers get, because typically they would only be able to get 15 spells maximum. Well, now that lifetime cap is up to 22 spells, extra 7 spells on the list if you go up to on level 20 with sorcerers. And you get even more at early levels as well with a new ability called innate sorcery, which immediately grants you 2 new sorcerer spells. Now, with that feature being added on, a lot of other features got pushed a little bit later, and then even more features got added in. So take a look at that link that we have in chat. Quick shout out to Alex Meehan of Dicebreaker for helping us with this article by making this article that we're reporting on, because there is just so much content. Okay, now with Warlocks, these changes are pretty massive as well. Warlocks get their pact boon at level 1. So if you're not familiar with what a Warlock is, basically they make a pact with an evil being and say, hey, I'll do what you want me to do, that's evil down here, as long as you give me lots of power. And typically you'd have to wait till level 3 to get all the really cool stuff from choosing your pact. Well, now you get that boon at level 1, which is pretty good. There's a lot of stuff that comes with that, as well as you get to cast up to 15 spells instead of 4 on your list. Let me say that again. 15 spells instead of 4. That's crazy. Warlocks used to have like the Eldritch Blast and a couple other ones. Now you're getting up to 15 spells from a special list that they get access to. That's awesome. As well as a new ability that I'm very excited about called Contact Patron. So Warlocks, you made this pact with your deity and you had to sort of role play it with your DM. And sometimes that wouldn't even happen. I think there's a lot more incentive with this new ability that lets Warlocks actually say, hey there, I know I asked you for some power before, but I was just wondering if maybe you can give me a little bit more details on how many people you want, how many innocent lambs you wanted me to slaughter. So it gives a little bit more of that role playing for Warlocks in game, and keeping focus on the narrative, right? And then the last change for classes wasn't actually a huge one. Wizards can use their spell book as a spell focus now. So instead of being as reliant on material components or other things, wizards can actually just use their spell book and cast spells straight out of it now, which is interesting. I think it's giving a little bit more versatility to wizards. We'll see what people say with the playtest. So these are just some of the many changes in the playtest. What do you guys think of all of these different things that they're changing?
They got rid of vicious mockery, and I'm not happy about it.
Only temporarily.
Did
they promised to bring it back eventually. But yes, you're right. They did get rid of vicious mockery and dissonant whisper.
That's all I ever play are bards. I mean, like in the current game I have like a level 4 bard and he's also a level 1 warlock. Well, it's great the warlock got some stuff, but vicious mockery gone? No. Come on.
You know how good it feels to defeat the BBEG?
Yeah, I do it all the time.
Like, yo, mama,
Or yeah.
No. I was gonna pile in. I was like, why are they doing that? These are both. All of this is like very important to the bardic way. This is why you become a bard, to like throw out those like little like counter like little like flips
jabs
everywhere. Yeah.
But do you know how many times vicious mockery ends up killing a major bad guy? Like sometimes bard just live for that, It's like, my D4 is gonna wipe you out. I'm just gonna do this by mocking you.
I killed a dragon by doing your refrigerator's running joke, and it was my crowning achievement.
That's amazing. I have to say, this being a playtest and not like set in stone just yet, it's definitely important that we give the feedback for these kinds of things. So if there's something that you heard today that you want to change or that you want to try out for yourself, definitely check out the link that's in Twitch chat that we posted for you. So that was a big headline. There was a lot of news there, and I didn't even get to cover all of it. So definitely check it out if you can. But we got some more details on a different RPG, and Noir is going to tell us all about it.
Awesome. Well, first off, shout out to ICv2 for providing the article. Gamma Expo News. Our Talasaurian reveals new deets on Cyberpunk Red RPG book. Our Talasaurian Games revealed new details on Danger Gal Dossier, a new book for Cyberpunk Red, which will release in summer 2023. The book was originally announced back in 2022 to arrive in Q4 2022. Danger Girl Dossier is a faction and NPC guide that contains information on 17 factions in Night City, ranging from fringe edge runner groups to megacorp operatives. It also has data and bios on over 100 NPCs, as well as guidelines to help players create their own NPCs. Additionally, the book comes with a new mission set for Night City, where players have been hired to figure out how a bunch of newbie edge runners managed to infiltrate Danger Gal HQ. Danger Girl Dossier is going to come out as a hardcover book and will retail at $40. So if you're into Cyberpunk Red, or if you're just a big old fan of Mike Pondsmith like I am, then you're going to want to check this out. Any thoughts?
Yeah, this is a definite book that beefs up campaigns. Like that's essentially what it does. Nobody, like if you played through the Cyberpunk video game, the Cyberpunk 2077, you know that there's just like no shortage of NPCs, and having to try to keep up with that in like a role-playing game. I mean, what GM's going to sit there and make 100 NPCs? So you need endless encounters. That's what you need. Endless people to talk to. So it's a cool book.
Yeah, NPC guidebooks are like a GM's best friend. You just flip open the page and go, "This is what's happening."
Yeah, I might even end up picking this up just for the inspiration. I mean, over 100 NPCs. That's a lot. And 17 factions, they definitely put a lot into this. I can see why they retailed it. They set the price at $40 because that's a lot of content. All right, let's move on to our next headline. Bonsai, take it away.
All right, folks. Well, I have some news that are just coming out for those in board game industry. This was, of course, presented. They announced on Twitter, basically, Keith Baker's Presents is closing its doors. Do not get it confused with the creator, that is Keith Baker. This is the company, Keith Baker Presents, the publisher of Eberron content. They just announced on Twitter that they're shutting down. It will finish up their the Eberron content currently in works and won't be producing anymore. But do not worry, existing titles will be continued and managed and sold by another company, Visionary Productions and Designs. The reason why he's making this shift is it looks like Keith wants to refocus his work on other interests, particularly his other works with Together Studios. If you guys remember, in our past videos, we played the game, the Adventure Zone board game, and the Illuminati board game, a card game as well. So if you guys want to check out, if you're interested in those titles, check out our VODs for more information. This just sounds like, I get it. Like, you don't want to just always be one type of content, even if you are like, this is your baby, this is what you brought up. But you're like, you know what? I wanna do other adventures. What are y'all's opinions about this?
Yeah, Jeffrey, you have some insight into this from being with ICv2, isn't that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think what basically happened here is just he had two corporations open and he kind of simplified it down to one. That's, I think, what's going on straight up. Because I mean, it's not like he stopped making games. And Together Studios has, the Adventure Zone, which is a major IP. So, he probably just is. I mean, I don't know if Eberron's going to die completely because of this. But, I think he just wanted to focus on the other company that had the major IP. That's just what I suspect went on.
Yeah, there's been some shaky ground with D&D this year so far. So we're definitely going to have to keep our eyes peeled and see how more of this content is going to develop, or where they're going to turn to for more Eberron stuff as a whole. Okay, well, let's just roll right into our next headline, Noir.
I'm sorry, I just really appreciate that segue.
Thank you.
All right, so coming up next, we got Critical Role announces 2 new RPGs and a board game. Darrington Press, during their inaugural State of the Press, they announced Queen by Midnight, which is a deck building princess battle royale. And exciting news if you're watching this, they're going to be at Gen Con this year, so we'll be able to check it out. Get your princess on and brawl with other princesses. It'll be a good time. They're also working on RPGs, Daggerheart and Illuminated Worlds. And finally, there's Guardians of Matrimonia, which is a co-op board game where you are an elite team of fantasy wedding planners for adventures and are taking care of things that threaten the big day. So if I just love this as a concept. If you're an adventurer getting married, you have to make sure that you're prepared for the BBEG to try and interrupt your wedding, and that's why you got to get an elite wedding planner. So this is going to be a fun one. These games do come at the cost of the adventures of Critical Role being delayed a bit, but with the premise of these games, I'm very excited. I've had a chance to play To the Last Gas, which is an awesome game. Darrington
You
Press.
did. I was just gonna ask you what you thought of that.
It is really good. And I cannot wait to implement it in a campaign. I think I've thought of some pretty interesting ways to do that. But Darrington Press so far hasn't missed. I haven't personally had a chance to play Ukatoa, but I've heard really good things. So I hope that they keep on with this. And I think Darrington Press is a publisher to keep an eye on. That's just my opinion.
I just have one note on this, and that I talked with Ivan Van Norman at Gammon Expo 2023, and that Queen of by Midnight board game is absolutely beautiful. It is the most beautiful game I saw at the whole show. It was wonderful. So if you get a chance to pick it up, get a chance to play it, take a look at it. You'll love it.
I think also. Sorry, I think also the video that they put on there, on their website, Darrington Press, has shots of the Queen by Midnight and such. So, that's how we could say it's very, very gorgeous board game.
It's even better looking in person. You'll just look at it and be like, wow, this all goes together. This is great. Like the dice tower, that is the clock dice tower is the centerpiece of the whole game. The art's wonderful. Yeah, done really well. So.
I gotta say, these are some really innovative ideas that they are coming up with for board games and RPGs and releasing them all within like a relatively short time period between each other. I don't know who they're commissioning to get their help with publishing all of this stuff, but man, they are working extra hard. Like, I don't even remember hearing about Critical Role making their own stuff other than, I don't know, some like merch and other D&D related content before like 2022. So this is really cool to see happening all at once. I'm sure there's a reason for it. Okay, so let's jump into our next headline. And Bonsai, why don't you take us into this one?
All right, Ark Nova. All right, I might be obsessed with this game. Ark Nova's getting an expansion. Okay, thank you, Mans versus Meeple, for they did a YouTube video about what they have. Basically, the creators of Ark Nova are being very smart about things and just releasing all their new expansions coming out. I did also get the micro expansion of the new player zoo maps as well. So what's gonna be what's going to be provided in this is the upcoming Marine Worlds expansion pack. So Ark Nova is all about building your zoo. Now they're going to expand to aquarium. So the expansion is themed around marine life and aquariums. Some new lands, but a ton of new aquatic life, special abilities like reef dwellers that trigger all other reefs abilities when played, adding new advanced buildings, aquariums, and that function like the reptile house, if you guys played this, and the aviary exhibit as well. A lot of the new mechanics seems to this is big kudos for this game, is that they're using this expansion to fix some of the old problems that happen in the game. One of the examples is a lot of players complain about not being able to get through this huge deck of animals to build various different engines, especially people who want to like do bears and monkeys. There are certain engines that require you to get lots of certain type of animals that, because it's such a huge deck, you just don't see ever again, so it messes up the whole thing. Well, now they're creating some mechanics that call for more draw cycles, to allow people to go through cards more faster, and so they can look at more combos they can build. Additional bonus tiles at the end of a reputation track, reputation of your education and what you can pick card drafting card wise, because a lot of times as you play, you're not really motivated to kind of get it. You're like, I guess I could pick cooler cards sooner, but what's the deal? Now they're making an actual incentive to kind of race to get that tile. Also, a new alteration to action cards. They're introducing three, so they're introducing a bunch of new action cards that can be drafted and be placed as the base action cards, which is a huge thing to gameplay. It just, like, you have to look at it to understand more of the details. I can nerd out about it, but me saying it will like go over people's head. They're like, okay, yeah, sponsors, cards, that's cool. Building on rocks, all right. Why does that matter to me? So I'm not going to go through all the details about it. And like I said, the plan is apparently to progressively release more details about the exclusives to different tabletop news outlets, TableTakes maybe, so we can get a steadily trickle of news to get the appetite more wet for all of the Arc Nova fans.
So what you're saying is they've got their DLC patch notes for this expansion so that they can fix some of the old stuff. That's pretty cool. I love that that's the capacity we have for our board games now.
But yeah, no, I'm very, very excited. And if you guys haven't played Arc Nova, I really suggest it. I'm just wondering if the expansion is going to fit in the box, because I already bought I went to Etsy and bought an organizer for it in here. So I just need to know if it can all fit in my box piece.
I don't know. I hope so, because I'm right there with you. I buy a lot of organizers for all of my board games, and that's a huge worry. I hope that they come out with more expansions as well, because often you'll see like with Kickstarters and stuff like that, maybe they'll have their own organizer if they like throw like a crowdfunding campaign or something where they get enough stretch goals or something like that. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, well, I'm excited to hear all of that news about this expansion, but how about some new board game news? It looks like a very popular TV show you might have heard of, Star Trek Discovery, is getting a new board game, thanks to ICv2 for this article today. So it looks like WizKids has just revealed a Star Trek Discovery-based board game called Black Alert. It's a strategy board game that's going to be coming this year in Q3, so sometime around the fall. Basically, in the game, you play with the USS Discovery that has slipped into a mirror universe, just like in the show, and now they're being pursued by the ISS Karen. Is it Karen or Sharon?
Well,
Karen.
I believe it's Karen because that's how it was described to me.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Karen, like Carrion,
Yeah.
like
I thought, can I get your manager for a second?
No.
Oh,
no, not that Karen, different Karen.
I was thinking of the Karen, the escort across the river Styx, that kind of Karen. So I thought it was going to be like a similar vibe. Anyway, this is a team game. So you split up into two teams, and it plays about 2 to 4 players. So you might just be in a group of by yourself or with like one other teammate. And you're trying to complete missions. The USS Discovery is trying to make it back home, whereas the ISS Karen crew is trying to capture the USS Discovery. And we've seen stuff like this before in other games, kind of like the Captain Sonar game, where 2 different sides are trying to like do this like cat and mouse chase kind of game, or Not Alone. There's one person trying to track everybody else down. It's one of my favorite styles, one of my favorite themes for a board game, because you've got one group of people whose entire job is just to find you. And everybody else is just like, don't get caught, finish the missions, get the cards and the resources, figure it out. It's really cool. If you want to check out the link in chat, ICv2 has collected a lot of really cool images that gives you a taste of all the cards that pull directly from the TV show with like Michael Burnham and a bunch of other characters that you'll see in the show. Now, if you haven't seen the show yet, I highly recommend it because I have seen a lot of it myself. Now, no spoilers because I haven't seen the most recent season. I haven't had time. I've just been watching so much other content. I've been watching Lord of the Rings. Have you guys heard of this movie series? I started watching it. It's there's like three of them, and they're
Nope,
so
never.
long. I
No,
don't even know how I'm
never.
supposed to finish them all.
Nope, no idea what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
No, I love Lord of the Rings. When Darth Vader told Luke Skywalker he was his father, I changed my life.
I thought it was a
Oh, man.
reality TV series about getting married.
I thought there was a documentary about walking through a forest for a
Yeah,
very long
I think-
time and then looking and ending in Hawaii or something.
I think you're onto something there. I think that is what it is. So, so this game,
It's like Indian matchmaking or something like that. Is it close to that one?
so Star Trek Discovery Black Alert will be coming this year, so I'm very excited to try it out. And it plays in about 60 minutes, which gives me hope that even though on the images it looks like kind of complicated, it still also looks like it's going to have like a short enough playtime that I'm going to be able to get people to play it. Plus, fans of like Star Trek in general, or even just the show, are going to be super into it. So I'm really looking forward to this because I'm not typically a Star Trek person, but I did really love Discovery, so I'm definitely into seeing more about it.
Yeah, I saw the game up close. Another one of those like, there were a few of those at Gamma Expo 2023 that was, was like that one and the one we just talked about, Queen by Midnight. Those were two that definitely stood out. It's a well put together game by WizKids. It's great team on team game. So,
all right, we're gonna roll on through to our next headline. Noir, take it away.
All right, so this is a biggie, so hold on to your hats. Mythic Games is experiencing another large Kickstarter project issue. The Kickstarter update stated contribution, the last step before production and shipping, that was addressed to their backers. And it basically states that Mythic Games is going through what appears to be another Kickstarter budgeting issue, and it's going to its backers and asking for 50% more money for all their pledges for Rainbow Six Siege board game. For instance, their 199 trooper level pledge needs to kick in 99 more to allow Mythic to afford to start production. The update also seems to hint that shipping costs will be raised as well. They say they will not start production until a minimum number of backers have agreed to make this extra contribution. This isn't the first time they've had to do this. Last year, they had to do the same thing with their Darkest Dungeon Kickstarter, asking their backers all for extra money to produce the game. Like the Darkest Dungeon campaign, Mythic is citing unexpectedly increased costs for materials, labor, and shipping stemming from the pandemic for this increased cost. This time, they're also blaming the war they're also stating that the issue arises from the war in Ukraine for the increase in cost. Ringing a little hollow this time, the Darkest Dungeon campaign launched in October 2020, so it was slightly defensible that they could underestimate COVID's impact on global production and supply lines. This campaign launched in June 2021, though, so it's kinda hard to see how they were still blindsided then. Even worse, the issue appears to have stalled their progress on several other large Mythic game Kickstarters as well. Monsterpocalypse, which has 1.3 million in pledges, which is already 5 months late, and hasn't even started production, and they are delaying it until Rainbow Six Siege's production issue is resolved. Anister, which is at 1.1 million, which was due to come out in July 2023, is also having production delayed until Rainbow Six production and shipping completes. No updates on that one since January. And finally, HEL, which is 2.2 million, which was due in June of 2021. It's in the same boat with no production scheduled until after Rainbow Six Siege is finished. This production failure is currently affecting 40,000 plus backers over 4 campaigns, and they're still winding down from the Darkest Dungeon disaster, which still hasn't even finished delivery. I think it's very important for us to stress that when you do these Kickstarters, you have to be aware that these issues can arise. Still, it's rather unfortunate that people are being made to wait for a game that they might not have interest in. You know, they supported these other projects, and to have the end product pushed back because the focus is going to another game is, if I were a backer, I would not be happy about it. I'm already impatient. I'm looking at you, Magpie. I really want Urban Shadows too, but I mean that's part of doing Kickstarters, is being aware of the risk. I do hope for the best for everybody involved. I don't think anybody's looking to see a game company falter, but there is some expectancy for these companies to do right by the people that believe in them, and forcing them to wait for a project that they have no interest in when they supported you to the tune of millions of dollars for projects that they were interested in. I think there's some make right that needs to happen, but I'm more interested to know what all of you think.
I think one of my bigger comments is maybe changing the structure of these kicks fund. Like these budgets are obviously not being like, they're getting kind of skewed, and I think that is because there's a big thing about being funded within a couple of hours, within a couple of days. That's a very unhealthy establishment that we have in the Kickstarter industry, in terms of like, it's great for advertisement if we can put that sticker on there, but that doesn't necessarily give the publishers room to post their true numbers of what they really, really need in order to get these products into people's hands. And I think we need to kind of change that narrative somehow. I don't know how, but it's obviously an unhealthy thing that we have promoted, and it's very sad.
Yeah, one thing I think they could possibly start highlighting, instead of just how quickly something was funded, was like how many recent or past campaigns that have been fully funded. What's your track record like? How many people have been happy or satisfied with your product? How many people have you served? That kind of thing. Like McDonald's says how many billions of people that they've served, and they're super proud of that on their giant sign. Do the same thing for crowdfunding campaigns.
Yeah. I could say this much: until Kickstarter issues that statistic for consumers to be aware of the track record of any of these brands that are asking for support, you can always find news on company's track record right here. So keep watching.
Slick. I love it. Yeah, I've seen a couple of, we've reported on crowdfunding campaigns that have just, they fizzled out. And some people actually have gotten the money back to their backers, because they were just like, look, we failed you. We weren't able to get it to you in time, and we're not going to be able to give you the game that you asked for, that you paid for. At the same time, I think a lot of people are not really frustrated with the fact of the matter so much as the situation at hand. They knew what they're getting into when you signed that little NDA at the very end and you click back this project, that it's not a store, and that there's a possibility that you might not get the product that you wanted. So it's just the nature of things. We're moving towards this kind of system of hoping for the best, crossing our fingers, and sending out the money and seeing what happens afterwards. Now, yeah. I've seen most of the crowdfunding campaigns have been successful. People are getting their stuff, and I really don't have any in my library that I haven't received or haven't gotten frequent updates that give me confidence that I will receive them. So the good news is this isn't something that happens very frequently. It's just something that you wouldn't really expect from a big company like this. So it's definitely something to keep in mind going forward, looking at the track record for different companies for their crowdfunding campaigns. Okay, Noir, would you like to lead us into our final headline?
Yeah, and just as a little segue between the two, I just want to say, like, having worked on a Kickstarter myself, it's very difficult. So kudos to companies that are able to regularly fulfill on time. And speaking of companies that have a very good track record with Kickstarter, we've got news coming from Cobalt Press. Waste of Chaos 5e is coming to Cobalt Press. Again, thank you to ICv2 for the story here. Cobalt Press is going to release Waste of Chaos 5e, a new setting book, into retail Q3 2023. Waste of Chaos 5e gives players everything that they're going to need to adventure through this Ruined Lands fantasy setting. The book offers players 4 playable races and sub-races, which includes automatons, dust goblins, and wasteling dragonborn, as well as 8 subclasses like the Doombringer Fighter, Way of Chaos Monk, and the Wasteland Ranger. You had me at Doombringer Fighter. It also contains background on 4 Wasteland factions and their followers, and provides information on chaos magic, corrupted locales, fiendish cults, and ancient treasure. Additionally, this book has a bestiary of 38 new creatures, such as Eldritch Horrors and the Chaos Drake. The standard edition will retail for $49.99, and there will also be alternate cover editions of this book. Cobalt Press recently released Campaign Builder, Cities and Towns 5e, a new 5e toolkit, book in retail of March 29th, 2023. So again, that just goes to show that they're pumping out content consistently, regularly, and most importantly, reliably. And I am extraordinarily excited for Waste of Chaos. I've been a big fan of the entire world of Midgard, Southlands, and I just can't wait to venture into this one as well.
I have a limited experience with Midgard, since I am running some players through a campaign of the Scarlet Citadel, which is a Cobalt Press published book that uses the Midgard setting. And I love what they do and how deep they seed all of their lore. Definitely put a lot of thought into it. And one of the things that it ties into is like the ruined lands, like the barren wastelands that a lot of evil creatures and chaos monsters and dark evil things come out of. So it's really cool to see that they've got a whole adventure focused on that area, because I know it's something that a lot of people are looking at in their campaigns, is giving a little darker feel to it. Also, the alternate cover for this book is the exact kind of thing that gets me to buy the alt cover rather than just the original one, because it's not just a nice design, it's got nice materials that it's made out of too, so it really stands out on this shelf. And purple is one of my favorite colors, so it just looks really, really cool. This is exciting.
Yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty cool product. I mean, I've always been a big fan of like the Conan-esque sort of settings for when it comes to fantasy. And I think this one will probably come through with some neat stuff for 5e campaigns.
Heck yeah.
Well, folks, that is just gonna about do it for our headlines today. But wait, we have another segment, our favorite segment. We've got dun dun crowdfunder court. That's right. We have 2 big old crowdfunding campaigns, and Noir is going to tell us about this first one.
Oh, I am very excited. So, of course, because of the Panini, we have seen the value of playing games with each other online, and there is now a new VTT to enable us to do just that. Alchemy RPG, a reimagined virtual tabletop. So, after a year in early access beta, Alchemy is excited to introduce Alchemy version 1, and they are bringing it to Kickstarter to bring it across the finish line. In addition to offering the complete Alchemy feature set, version 1 introduces officially licensed first-party support for 12 game systems, content modules for over 50 of the industry's most beloved publishers and creators, and Alchemy enhanced Alchemy Enhanced, an immersive new way to experience your favorite titles with a thematic interface, bespoke motion graphics, original scores, and ambiance. If you join the Kickstarter now, you're going to get access to Alchemy Backer account plus that has 10 beautiful tarot size cards redeemable for content on the Alchemy Marketplace, featuring Dragonbane Enhanced from Free League, Pathfinder 2E Core Rulebook from Paizo, Scarlet Citadel from Cobalt Press, Epic Encounters, Arena of the Undead Horde from Steam Forge Games, Humblewood Tales from Hitpoint Press, The Griffin Saddle Book 2 from Hitpoint Press, Music D20 Volume 2, so you can get a nice soundtrack going. Sezupeku Scenes, and I cannot stress enough how much I love Sezupeku. Their maps are just mwah! Crabwell from Boro Bound, and Kinomancer Ambiance Volume 1 from the Kinomancer. So, again, this is just a very beautiful looking VTT. It's another one on the long list of VTTs a long list of VTTs, so the options are there. You can find the one that fits for you. I just really love the clean look of this one, so I highly recommend checking it out. And if you feel like this might be the fit for you and your table, back it.
We've seen so many virtual tabletop stuff coming out. It really is like we're getting a lot of options for it. And I've heard a lot of people tell me, like personally outside the show, about how they are like hesitant to jump into like a new virtual tabletop and ask their players to get into it. So I love seeing something like this that really caters to people who are joining a campaign and making sure that they have the content for the game that they're playing. I'm playing through Scarlet Citadel right now, and boom, they already have it ready to go for their virtual tabletop. That just shows that it looks like this is going to be something really successful, and I wish them nothing but the best. It looks really cool. All right. Well, I also have a crowdfunding campaign, and it's also TTRPG related. So there is a Kickstarter campaign for a tabletop role-playing game called Break, with two, not just one, but two exclamation points. They have described themselves as an easy-to-play game of exploration and teamwork set in the wonderfully dangerous outer world. So I was looking through the setting for this, and it's really fascinating. It's got a JRPG style to it. It draws a lot of inspiration from video games like Secret of Mana and Berserk, and even some stuff like one of my favorite comics of all time. Well, I say comics, I should say manga. Delicious Dungeon, which is a dungeon. It was a story about people who go into a dungeon and kill and eat the monsters to stay alive as they keep going, and it gives you like cookbooks and stuff. Really good, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Break, which just uses that as inspiration. So in the setting for this world, it's post-apocalyptic fantasy. So there's lots of derelict mega structures and war machines and nature that's been polluted, magically speaking. There is this thing called the sun machine, and it's broken. It's supposed to cast sunlight on like a regular basis, so like the world is fine, but half the planet is always in light and half the planet is always in darkness. So you have different adventures about you jumping back and forth between these two different places and the societies that develop under this broken machine. And maybe your adventure is to fix the sun machine itself, or maybe it has nothing to do with that at all, and you're just trying to figure out a different kind of adventure. Now, this is more of a family-friendly style of game, right? So it's got an age rating of 12 plus. It has some challenging themes, but also parental discretion is advised for younger players. But it also has a lot of 5e elements and ideas that are going to bring people in from like a different one. And it's very simple. It's very quick to learn. I looked at some of the sample pages, and you can look at them for free right now before you even play the game and check it out and see if this is the kind of RPG you want to play in. The art that they've already designed for it is phenomenal. It's out of this world. Like the amount that they put into 470 pages of full color for this campaign. You should definitely check it out. You can get the digital version for just about $26 if you just want the PDF, or you can back the full $127 pledge to get the physical and the digital together. And it's got only 11 days left on the campaign. So if you're going to check it out, now is the time to do it. I'm looking at a lot of the really cool stretch goals that they've got coming out with some limited edition covers and stuff like that. But honestly, the design is enough alone for me to get excited about playing this game. Like, I know we have a lot of anime fans in the game, in the group here, but we've also got some JRPG fans, and that's something that's really, really important to like my upbringing. Those are the kinds of games that were really cheap and easy to play, but they were also really easy to find once the internet started getting a little bit more robust, and we could actually start playing some of the retro stuff and go back and see the stuff that we missed. So yeah, if you're a fan of JRPGs, or if you just want to try a really easy RPG system that you can play with literally just 2 players or more, definitely check this one out because it looks really, really cool. Folks, guess what? That's the end of our episode today. That's the end of TableTakes this week. We had so much to cover, and we covered a lot. But if there's anything that we missed that you wanted us to talk about, let us know. Tweet at us at TableTakes, or just follow us here and give us a shout if you want us to cover something that you were excited about that we missed out on. All right, folks. Stick around right after this episode at 3:30 p.m. PST. We've got TableTakes Game Night, where we're going to be playing totally real human adults once again. The wonderful Panita is going to be running the game for us. We had so much fun the first time. We're bringing it back for a repeat. And then at 5 p.m., right after, we're going to see some more joyful gaming around Sarah's table, where they're going to be playing Ball of the Wild. I need to know more about this. I have no idea. I think it's like a play on word for like Call of the Wild, the Ball in the Wild. Yeah, I want to know more about this. I'm definitely going to tune in to see what this is about. All right, and then if you're new to the stream on Mondays at 9 a.m., we've got Peter versus the Machine, where our very own Peter Atkinson plays board games against the Machine, an automated game playing system for the board game that he's playing. And then at 4 p.m. on Mondays, we've got board games with the Brothers Murph. And at 6 p.m., all of these times PST, we've got Dress to Quest. On Wednesdays at 6 p.m., we've got Actoroki. And on Thursdays at 10 a.m., we've got Blood on the Clock Tower, where you can join some of our favorite folks to play a large social deduction mystery game similar to Werewolf, but with more rules. And 4 p.m. On Thursdays, we've got Roll with Rem Alternus. And then you can just join us back here on Fridays for more TableTakes at 2 p.m., followed by TableTakes Game Night in Sarah's Table every single week. Thank you to all of our lovely viewers in the chat, helping us stay on track, but also giving us some fun insights. And thank you to our lovely hosts today. And thank you, Jeffrey, for joining us for this very special episode. We had such a great time, and you offer so much insight for us. We honestly love having you on, and we hope to see you again real soon.
Yep, no problem. Thanks.
All right, folks, if you missed any of our previous programming, check out the VODs here on Twitch or on YouTube 24 hours later, so you never miss an episode. Or you could just follow us here on Gen Con TV, so you never miss out on the best 4 days in gaming all year long. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for TableTakes Game Night. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.